What's going on, family? It is your favorite play cousin. Yes, the relative you didn't even know you had, Carlos Davis at Mr. Resource Mogul on social media. Again, I know the aesthetics aren't what you're used to. It is not Out and Lane. And of course, big shouts out to our partner, Out and Lane. Now, my clothing aesthetics are still there. Of course, we've got our partnership with Made Lifestyle Collection, Out and Lane. Again, we'll be giving you all some discount codes and some different opportunities to connect with our partners at the end. So you've got to stay all the way to the end. But most importantly, because the aesthetics are not the same, as you know, because we are home. We are in our home office, and we hope that you are at home as well. We hope you're staying safe. We hope you are staying healthy. And again, with these troubling times, we're doing this for you. We had to change. We had to pivot. We had to change where we are, but we're not going to change who we are. We want to continue to help you. We want to continue to give you resources, insights on a brevity of different things to help you be the better version of you. And of course, for you to be the better networker that you want to be. And with that said, we've got an amazing guest, an amazing friend, an amazing brother with us today. We have an attorney. Now, I get it. I know, Snorfist attorney. This is not your average attorney, brothers and sisters. It is not your average attorney. When I tell you, throw the whole thought of what you know of an attorney out the window, because it is truly the complete opposite. Because I've known this brother personally for years, and he truly has a heart of gold. When I'll never forget when he came to town. And we met for the first time, how as him and I always talk about it, it was an instant connection for us and our families connecting. But then taking it a step further, his firm at the time was such a key reason why my company grew, our company grew in a lot of different ways, and having things get taken care of as far as contracts and a lot of things where we had holes, his firm took care of. And so attorney Bobby Robinson is with us today. Now, he was over Robinson Law Group, but now I am proud and honored to say that he is the newest partner at Nexsen Pruet Law Firm. They have several locations, but they do have an office here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah. Attorney Bobby Robinson, welcome to the Network or Die podcast.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate that. With Carlos, man, I gotta have you around everywhere I go, brother. I gotta have you around everywhere I go. I'm definitely blessed, for the relationship. As you know, we were able to chop it up before we went live, but very appreciative of the platform and all the opportunities. It's funny, man, you don't know this, but you were the first vending opportunity when I launched my firm. That was the first vending opportunity for the Robinson Law Group. I think we were over somewhere at the Music Factory.
Yeah. Wow.
And you can tell, because when we look at photos from that event, we pulled the tablecloth directly out of the package. That was the first one that I ordered. That was the first one that I ordered, and it had all the wrinkles in it and so forth. And so after that, sorry, you had to be the test, but after that, we got one of those nice steamers to make sure there were no wrinkles in my tablecloth. But I didn't know no better. I just thought it would, work itself out. But it was a great opportunity, and that was, my first sort of introduction to my clients and prospective clients and networking as an entrepreneur. So here in Charlotte. So I appreciate you, man, for the opportunity.
Man, look, that warms my heart, man. I appreciate that, man. I mean, and again, it was your spirit, man, and even now, wherever it is that you're trying to go, that's where we're trying to go. And that's why we had to have you on the podcast. We needed to let our listeners, our viewers, come to know another great resource. We've had some great resources on, but of course, especially now with everything going on, we're at home. A lot of people have questions. They're anxious about not only their legal rights, but just their careers in general. And, you know, so, you know, we'll talk about, you know, the whole networking piece and whatnot. But first off, Bobby, let everybody know how you got, so, you know, again, you're the newest partner with this firm, but kind of talk about how you got here. Tell us about Bobby Robinson.
Now, how far do you want to go back, right? I'm not
You can go. Let's see. Let's start with your legal career. Like right out. Like, where'd you go to school? You know, and how that whole progression.
Absolutely. So, proud graduate of Charlotte School of Law. Graduated with honors back in 2015. Right after that, I started with CBRE. I did some compliance work with them, and then on the side, I just started building the Robinson Law Group. Right. I always knew I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. Most of my life, I've gone in and out of working for folks into entrepreneurship from my early 20s. And so that's all I knew. And so after that corporate stint, I knew that that's not where God wanted me. But the opportunity presented itself. I wasn't even looking. Again, I reached out to someone at CBRE. She was the chair of their diversity infinity group within the company. And I reached into her, and she liked my background so much that she offered me a position that wasn't even posted yet. And so I was the only person to interview for it, and I got it, right? And that's how I got to CBRE. I had never heard of CBRE prior to that. And so it was, again, a networking opportunity that landed me a position with CBRE. And then I grew my firm over the years. Again, I started Robinson Law Group late 2016, but we really launched and kicked it off at your networking event. I believe it was like January of 2017. And we've been going strong ever since. So initially, you know, we started off as this corporate business practice. And then we really started taking on a lot more of intellectual property work, probably late 2017, early 18, to where that also became a very driving force of our success. And our ability to innovate and provide services around our fee structure. A lot of it was flat fees. We were very creative with how we engaged with our clients. And then we started representing some larger clients, you know, Avid Exchange and some mid-sized companies. And that was sort of the start of, you know, how we were able to get on the radar of a Nexsen Pruet to say, hey, we really like what you're building, and you're creative and innovative, and we could use some of that in our firm. And so they've been talking to me for some time. And you know, one of the attorneys over at Nexsen Pruet, Miss Yolanda Davis. Shout out to Yolanda,
my cousin.
Yes. So she planted that seed a couple of times. I think the last time was at your house when she and I ran into each other at your house.
Wow.
That was the last time she planted that seed, and I went into late 2019 really planning strategically about my firm and my other companies and how I was going to make it all work. Because I'm going to tell you, man, I was driving myself to exhaustion. I had the Robinson Law Group. I was still working. I had IntelliDoc. I had the staffing company. I was investing in other businesses at the same time.
Woo.
These gray hairs, some of them are a little too premature. I'm gonna have to start coloring it. But I had to figure out a way that was sustainable. While the Robinson Law Group was doing well, I thought we could be doing better. And I was determined to get it to a certain threshold. And like many businesses, the firm was significantly impacted by COVID, right? A lot of my clients are small, again, most of them are small companies, although we have a few mid-sized, but 80% of them are small companies that were significantly impacted. So we got slow for a while, even during this transition. We got very slow. No one was spending money, right? Everybody was stacking their money, trying to figure out what they were going to do. So then as people started to figure out kind of what their options were, then they started back reaching in, needing some guidance. So, but that first week or two, man, it was interesting.
Wow. So I back to your story. You said something that struck me, and I want people that are employed. I know employment's a real touchy subject, especially now. But if people are employed, you said something very, very key. While you were working with CBRE, you were building the Robinson Law Group. And I bring that up because a lot of people have this misconception. Well, I've just got to take this leap of faith, jump with the parachute and quit my job and do this. But you, like a lot of us, while you were working, created the Robinson Law Group. How key was that for you? And again, now you're a partner in firm. How key was that strategy for you?
It was paramount, right? I mean, I was making good money at CBRE. There was no need for me to leave. I had a really good team. They were fairly self-sufficient. And for me, it came down to I was able to invest in the Robinson Law Group through my paychecks at CBRE. They literally funded my firm. I'll never forget it. It was like $400 or $500 a month initially to start my firm, like a virtual office, emails, a little malpractice insurance and whatnot. So it was about so I'll take $500 from my paycheck to pay for my expenses. And as the firm started to make money, I didn't have to do that anymore, And so, you're absolutely right. And then when the Robinson Law Group started making decent money, I invested and started IntelliDoc, and I was able to invest in building our technology solution. And it just kind of went on from there, right? So one thing just sort of led to the other, but I know that I wouldn't be able to have started IntelliDoc if I just jumped to our Robinson Law Group and paid myself the same salary. It just would have taken us a lot longer to get there. So I held on as long as I possibly could to build these other projects and pieces that I knew were needed in the marketplace, and that's what I did.
So again, family, watching or listening, if you are, again, employed, and God bless you that you are, and if you are and you have this goal and this dream, there is absolutely nothing wrong with starting. And again, this is coming from an attorney. There is nothing wrong with starting a business on the side, whatever your dream, your.
I will say, just if your company has policies about
there you go.
You moonlighting, or they need to get permission. Because I would, full transparency, it got a little hot for me too, right? At one point, it's like it's one thing to have one thing on the side, but when I had 3 separate businesses on the side. So so obviously your company, know your policies,
right?
Do what you got to do, but it is possible to grow something on the side if you do it the right way. And I would wake up early, Carl. Like I still, even when I was in law school studying for the bar, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and study all day, go to bed late at night, right? And those habits they still stuck with me, right? So I still get up to this day, 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I used to, I meditate, I pray, and then I work on client work before I went to work. Took meetings in between.
Yeah.
Did client work when I got off of work. And then when I couldn't do it no more, I started contracting other attorneys to help me do the work. And then that's kind of how other folks got involved as well.
Wow. So on that, again, this is the Network or Die podcast. How paramount Well, let me take it a step back. I remember you saying that you reached out to CBRE, you networked, so to speak, with CBRE, and it seems like they created something for you almost. So in your opinion, how paramount has networking, how important has networking been for you in your career?
Every job I've had, except for me being a teenager and working at Publix, as you know, in Florida, literally every job I've had has come from me knowing somebody.
Mm.
So so for example, just me coming to Nexsen Pruet was via Yolanda Davis saying, "Hey, I think I know what they're trying to do. You're doing it already, and you'd be great here at the firm." And so, but for Yolanda, whom I knew socially, but she and I hadn't really spent a whole lot of time together, but she saw all of the good work that we were doing, our brand, our reputation. She's actually referred clients to me that we've taken very good care of. So she knew of us and what we were capable of doing. And it gave her the assurance that she could go to her partners and others at the firm to recommend that they bring me on. And to be quite honest, Carlos, I had no thought of me becoming a partner. I was initially thinking that I would come in as what they call special counsel, mm-hmm. or outside counsel, or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. But after meeting with the chairman and other partners, they were like, "No, he has the goods." And we've seen the receipts of what he can do and what he can build. Let's put him in partnership rank. And that's kind of how that whole thing happened. But it was something that I didn't necessarily come in requesting, because I've never worked in a law firm setting before other than my own. So that part was interesting. But to answer your question, networking has been critical to my success, both professionally and personally. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it's just me reaching out. Even with CBRE, I didn't know what my angle was. I wasn't asking for a job. Hey, I'm interested in just learning more about real estate. And I also see that you guys are very passionate around diversity. Love to really talk to you about it, given the fact that you are the chair of the Diversity Committee for African Americans, right? That's kind of how that led into an opportunity. But I'll tell you one thing, till this day, we never really had that conversation about diversity.
Wow.
It was, so it was just kind of one of those things. I mean, yes, she was an African-American female. We talked about things that impacted us as a culture, but we never really had the company sort of discussion. So that part was kind of funny.
Wow. So if there's anybody listening or watching that's in the legal services industry, either as an attorney, paralegal, whatever, what would be your advice to them, again, around the importance of networking, especially within your industry?
Yeah, I think, some lawyers get a bad rap about just not being good at working with people, depending on certain practice areas. But I think in today's climate, whether you're a solo practitioner or a partner at a law firm, you got to get out there to meet the people in which that need your services, but more importantly, are just good people to know, right? Networking. People don't believe this. You probably won't, as somebody that has known me for some time. I consider myself highly introverted, right? If I don't know you, I probably don't say nothing to you, right? Like even this stuff is, I'm getting more used to, like even just being on video and talking and this, that. I overthink too much, right? I just think too much, right? And so I say all that to say, a lot of attorneys don't necessarily get out there because they expect the business to come to them. But I've had to get comfortable, and putting myself out there and taking the risk, and it has certainly paid off. right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, having opportunities with Black Enterprise and
Mm-hmm.
people calling all the time to ask me to sit on panels, to do this and do that. And there have been moments where my first inclination is to say, no, I don't want to do it, right? You know, find somebody else, right?
Right.
But I've had to get to a place where it's been beneficial to my business, and if I don't bring in the business, who will, right? And sometimes, you know, my thought was, well, people don't want to. I don't have anything to offer. I don't have anything
Mm-hmm.
of value that they could possibly need, right? And that's not true, right?
Right.
There's always some value that you can provide in some way, shape, or form. But the biggest thing I'll say though is, and you and I talk about this all the time, is the relationship piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I've met people along my journey that I've never not once talked to them about me representing them.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have never even had that conversation.
Exactly. Right.
We've never had that conversation.
Yeah.
That's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing a lot of people will say. He never pitched his services to me.
Yep.
Because the bottom line is, you know, people do business with they know, like, and trust, right? And that is very true. And so I think lawyers need to get out there, build the relationships, and the business will come. And I mean, again, I've had people I've known for years and will just recently pick up the phone and be like, hey, I need you to represent me on something, right? And that's just kind of how it works, and I appreciate it. And I prefer it to be that way.
Yeah, no. So what is, if you could give a networking tip, and again, legal, outside of the legal service, and just professional in general, if there's one tip you would give someone, what would it be around networking?
Show up. You know, show up, because you know, oftentimes you got to be in the room, right? You got to be in the room. You got to be present. You know, I know when I first started the Robinson Law Group, I was at networking events, at least 2 to 3 events a week. If it had business anything on it, I was there.
Yeah.
Right. And then after a while, I figured out which events I needed to be at, which ones I really didn't need to be at, you know, so forth and so on. But initially, I didn't care. I was at multiple networking events, again, just to be present, just to get myself out of my own comfort zone, just to get in the flow of how I described and talked about my business.
Yeah.
So definitely just showing up and being present, because if you're not there, how are people supposed to get to know you?
Yeah, man, that's great. So with everything that's going on, you know, with COVID, of course, you know, you're in your home, I'm in mine. What are you doing? And I know you just again, you became a partner at Nexsen Pruet. What are you doing during this time? I know it's not business as usual. It's not business as usual for everybody. So what are you doing, you know, during this time? How is business for you? What are you working on these days?
Yeah, so I'm in this very awkward transitional period still, right? So I'm still having to shutter the Robinson Law Group, and I have suppliers and vendors and people who help behind the scenes do a lot of stuff. So really settling a lot of that, even just scrubbing expenses, right? Hey, I don't need this subscription. I don't need this. I don't need that. Certain things I still need to do. So that piece is still happening. And then just building business, right? I'm reaching out to establish new relationships, and then calling on existing relationships, try to support me from a business development perspective. So yeah, be on the lookout for that text message.
Always look forward, bro.
So that's really, you know, and then obviously getting acclimated to Nexsen Pruet and figuring out how I can put my stamp on the firm, and bringing, you know, more diverse businesses to the firm and introducing them to a lot of great people in the community, because they do a lot of great work, and you know, they just have not had an opportunity to really let their light shine in the Charlotte market. And so I'm hoping to help them elevate themselves from a brand awareness perspective. So you will start seeing a lot more Nexsen Pruet on whether it be LinkedIn. I haven't been a heavy user on LinkedIn, but I will be going forward. So looking forward to that. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
So with everything going on, a lot of people are anxious, unsure about their rights. A lot of things are in limbo. What advice would you? And I know you can't give legal advice, but what are some things that simplistic things that, and either strategies or just advice that you can give our viewers, our listeners about this time, about their rights, if they're like anxious, uneasy about where things are?
Yeah, one thing I can say is, nothing that I can recall where we're all feeling it, right? Like whether you're a solopreneur or fortune, every company right now, and I've been on several calls with clients that Nexsen represents, that everybody is nervous and anxious, right? So you're not in this alone. And I think that's the first thing that people need to appreciate. But entrepreneurship is lonely within and of itself. It's lonely. And that brings me to the second point, is to get connected to people such as yourself and other advisors that can help you think through strategically what your options are.
Right.
So a lot of my clients that are anxious, it's like, okay, like take a breath, breathe, chill, calm down, and let's then figure out what are the most critical aspects or critical conversations we need to have, whether it be with your lender, whether it be with your landlord, employees. Let's figure out a strategy around how we have those conversations, so that you then could get comfortable with secondarily pivoting and changing the strategy for the business so that you can survive this thing on the back end. Because just not doing nothing and doing the whole ostrich thing and sticking your head in the sand is not going to be the appropriate answer here. So get connected and plugged in as soon as you can. And then going back to, just like you said, start looking at all the things that are draining your business right now financially, right? And having to make some tough decisions. And that's the part that I think is also challenging right now. So yeah, we've had to literally, I have an MBA with a concentration in finance. I don't classify myself as a CPA or anything of that nature, but I can read a financial statement and all that kind of stuff. And we're having to really just go through and help clients make tough calls around, what expenses to cut, because they're too afraid to, or don't really know what to do, right? And so, yeah, we're doing a lot of things differently that I would have never really done that prior to this issue. So, yeah.
Wow. So, Bobby, we have a tradition on this show, and
I should have watched the other episodes.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. We know, and you've known me for a long time, so you already you kind of probably have an inkling what it is, and it's how can either myself or any of our viewers, listeners serve you? How can we be of service to you in your endeavors as a partner, but just as a person in general? How can we be of service to you?
Yeah. Well, you already know the first thing. Y'all keep your brother in prayer. Just in transition, right? Just to the point of, I think you and I were talking about, me running my own companies, and now me having to work in an organization that I have to, get approvals for certain things, whereas before, hey, I like it, go with it, right? So that's going to be quite for me, but I'll be all right. But then I think ultimately just referrals, if there's a company you think can use some guidance, whether it be what contracts or just general business, legal advice or trademarks or they got an issue that they need some help with, yeah, feel free to send them my way. And I'd be happy to help service them the best way that I can. But yeah, I think those are the things that are most important to me, and how you guys can help, especially now that I'm in this new environment and having to basically start over to some degree.
So with that said, how can you be of service? So kind of tell us, one, of course, how can we get in touch with you, but also how can you help us? What are your service offerings, some different things? Because, law is very, very broad. So what,
yeah,
what can
yeah,
you
it's very
what
broad. Yeah, so my practice of law is very strict to corporate law, and I'll break that down because that piece is kind of broad, and then intellectual property. Those are the two main areas that I practice law in. So the corporate side is really, business, helping people form their companies, draft various contracts, whether it be supplier agreements, joint ventures. We help people buy, sell businesses. We do some commercial real estate work. And then I have some companies who hire me just to be their outside counsel, right? So they're too small to hire an attorney full time, so they'll hire me as somewhat of a fractional outside counsel, and we can work out a fee. And then we also support a lot of trademarking. So if you have a brand or a logo, you got to get that stuff taken care of, Carlos.
Yes, sir.
So if you have a brand or a logo that you want to protect, we help clients do that, as well as copyrights. Before, I got to get used to this. So before, I would just stop and say, well, we don't do patents, right? Or I don't do patents. But now Nexsen Pruet has a very robust patent team. And so we now can take patent clients. So even if you come to me, while I can't work on it, I could certainly get a patent attorney and others involved. So I now have that's the benefit. I now have over 200 professionals and throughout multiple offices that I can call on for any given reason. And so that I didn't have before.
So family, we've been given a little bit of our anxiety around COVID lessened by some great thoughts and great strategies by Attorney Robinson. In addition to that, you now have a great resource in Attorney Robinson. So again, please reach out to him if there's any way that he can assist you, especially if you are a small business owner. If you even haven't even started your business yet. One of the things that has been so valuable to me, again, is his advisement. not just the contract reviews and the different things, but it truly has been his advisement. And if I had advisement like that early on, I think some of the mistakes that I made as an entrepreneur early on, I would have avoided. So I would definitely recommend that you reach out to Attorney Robinson. Attorney Robinson, what's the best way for folks to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the best way is email. So my email is brobinson@nexsenpruet.com. So brobinson@nexsenpruet.com, or you can visit nexsenpruet.com and click professionals and search Bobby Robinson, and it will also bring up my bio. I have not yet fully learned my direct office number yet, but if you go to nexsenpruet.com, click on professionals, you'll search for Bobby Robinson. It will pull up my bio on the website, and there you'll be able to read about my background, and you'll also see my phone number and email, and you can download my V card so that you'll have all my contact information for the future.
Bobby, my brother, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to visit with us. We'd love to have you back on, either before or after COVID, to kind of give us, little business law tips and insights that can help us. But again, my brother, congratulations on all of your success, not just with you becoming a partner, but the success you have with Robinson Law Group, and even your upcoming successes with IntelliDoc and all of these other things that you have going on. And I definitely want to have you back on, to talk about IntelliDoc and how the whole story behind that, and just, you've done a lot, man. You're a wealth of knowledge, and would definitely love to have you back on in the future.
There are some stories.
Well, Bobby, again, I appreciate you having on, and family, for you tuning in, whether you watch or listen to just a little bit, or you watch or listen to the whole thing. I'm so appreciative of your time. I do not take it for granted, especially during this time. There is a buffet of content out there, and you chose to tune into this, and I'm very, very appreciative. If you would like to take advantage of any specials that we have dealing from out in the lane, just mention my name, Carlos Davis. They will take great care of you with your clothing needs, as well as Made Lifestyle Collection. The discount code is my name. If you go to shopmadelifestylecollection.com, they will take great care of you. They are some of the small businesses that we support, and we just hope that you support them as well. As always, if there's anything we can do for you, especially during this time, if you're looking for employment, please reach out to us. If you're looking for opportunity to be connected with, please reach out to us. Again, this is not just a show about talking about strategies and resources. We want to give you resources. We want to give you everything that you need to be successful during this time. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep bringing you great guests and folks like Attorney Robinson to, again, not only keep you inspired, but to keep you informed of what's going on. So until the next time, family, we meet. This is your favorite play cousin, your favorite relative you did not know you had, Carlos Davis at Mr. Resource Mogul. Until the next time we talk, I'll see you at the top.
Take care, guys.